An amateur explorer trying to unravel an ancient mystery found trouble, if not his prize. Rona Wyatta and 4 colleagues ventured into eastern Turkey in search of Noah's Ark, but they were abducted by Kurdish rebels and held for 3 weeks. They were finally released, and Wyatta returned home to Dallas last week. Wyatta says he found the final resting place of the famed Ark, and he joins us today to tell us about his quest. Mr. Wyatta, welcome to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Donna.
Let's talk about when you were taken first. What happened?
Well, we had planned to go to a town down in southeast Turkey, and we had planned to get there before dark. I've been out there about 32 times, and you do not travel after dark. There's road repairs, and we ended up getting caught in this roadblock by these terrorists.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Kurdish rebels took you. Did they tell you why they took you, and you were taken for about 3 weeks?
Well, basically, they said nobody listened to them unless they had hostages. So that was their expressed reason for doing it.
And then why did they say they let you go?
Well, the news dropped off. They had these shortwave radios, and as long as they and we were in the news, they were quite happy to hang on to us. Once that quit, then I guess they knew that to release us would get them back in the news again.
Mm-hmm. How concerned were you for your life?
The terrain itself was, it's called the Black Hill by the Turkish military, and that's a very apt description. You could get killed or maimed very easily just walking through there, running through this area, which we were forced to do night after night.
Mm-hmm. And who found you? And I was reading in some notes that you kind of left a trail, didn't you?
Yes, I put some money in my pocket, and I dropped $495 at intervals along the way, and this did lead the military to this Black Hill area. And these Turkish police officers returned the money after we were out.
Let's go on to the Ark. What makes you think that this is Noah's Ark?
Well, we have the word of a photogrammetry expert that this large object is a boat. And also its location on a mountainside at 6,300 feet fits in with the fact that there's only enough water on the planet to increase the sea level to 7,000 feet above present sea level if ice caps and everything were melted down. Also, there's, shall we say, boxcar loads of timbers out there. Donna, I have one right here in front of me.
Okay, let's take a look, and let's talk about that to continue our chat here. Tell us what that is.
Well, this is a piece of deck board. We used a subsurface interface radar system to look down through the boat. We were not allowed to do an extensive excavation, which is first choice in archaeology once you feel you've identified something. But anyway, we found tremendous amounts of these timbers, and the Turkish authorities had their people dig this up and allowed me to bring it home to have it analyzed. And it is indeed petrified wood. In particular, it's Peki cypress.
Okay, so that's petrified wood. Now,
yes.
Now how are you going to go about dating that, and what kind of analyzation are you going to use to see if that is the Ark?
Well, what archaeologists are required to supply in order to identify a site, Donna, is physical remains, and then if you're fortunate enough to have inscriptions, this is a real plus, and then of course a local tradition. And there's tremendous amounts of physical remains, and there are a great number of inscriptions, and of course this whole story of the Ark landing on Ararat. The location of this boat is 12 miles south of the big mountain, and of course there's a long-time local tradition that the Ark landed in that area.
Mm-hmm. You know, well-known biblical story. Did you find some animal remains as they were supposed to be on there 2 by 2?
We did. There's a large amount of what's called corpolites by geologists and archaeologists. These are animal droppings that have fossilized. We also found a fossilized antler. Now, the possibility has been brought up that this might be a barn or some other type structure. Antlers are associated with non-domesticated animals. And, of course, this tells us that at least one undomesticated animal was on this boat at some point in time. Mm-hmm. And the corporites that are on there. Of course, we can identify the animal by the shape and whatnot of the droppings. Now, we also found something, and I guess if I have a favorite object, it's this. This is a rivet, and it's quite a sophisticated riveting system. It's a washer about approximately 3.5 inches in diameter with a shaft that's a little over an inch in diameter, and it's been struck while it's hot, and this splays the end of the shaft out so it cannot slip back through this washer. Now, there are thousands of these on there. These are found in the radar scans.
Mm-hmm. I need to go on for just a moment.
Sure.
I guess I don't need to tell you, of course, that you do have some critics. We had a story last Friday,
Sure.
And also a scientist at Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico who analyzed the artifact says that there's no way that they are pieces of the ark. And one of the critics in a report that we had on Friday says that he doesn't think that it's anything more than a rock formation and that perhaps you've been watching too many Indiana Jones movies.
Well, I do like Indiana Jones movies. Now, the gentleman, since you didn't mention his name, I will just say that perhaps he didn't want his name mentioned. But we have, shall we say, hours of footage of this individual saying this is indeed Noah's Ark. Now, I have a little problem with somebody that says, yes, there's even intervaled metal readings on there. He actually himself found a right-angled iron bracket, and we have him on video identifying this as a right-angled iron bracket. And he took it to Los Alamos National Laboratories and had it analyzed, and we have the results of that. It was 91% pure ferric oxide. So,
all right.
I don't have any problem with critics. Everybody's entitled to an opinion, but I hate to see them doing a 180.
All right, we need to take a break here, but we will come back. And if you'd like to ask Explorer Ronald Wyatt a question about Noah's Ark, you can give us a call, 404-221-0218. We are back with Ronald Wyatt. He is an explorer who claims to have found Noah's Ark, and we are ready for your calls. San Georgia, you're on the air first.
Hi.
Hi, Georgia.
I was wondering, after such an incredible ordeal, are you going to make any plans to go back in the near future?
Yes, ma'am. We have promises from the Turkish government that they will issue us the permit that we wanted. The only thing that's happened is since we wasted 21 days out in the woods out there in eastern Turkey, we're going to have to postpone what we were going to do until next summer.
Okay. Connecticut, you're on the air.
Hi. About 4 or 5 years ago, there was a documentary done also on the finding of a piece of wood from Noah's Ark on Mount Ararat, and it was carbon dated and said to have been authentic. Is this, what you have found, an extension of that since it had been lost and never found again?
No, ma'am. This is totally different. The piece of wood you're referring to is a piece found by Ferdinand Navarra back in 1957. The place where he said it was carbon dating was checked with, and he had not had carbon dating. It appears from Turkish records in particular that in 1955 he and some people actually took this piece of wood up and put it in the ice crevasse. And the reason I say this on the air is we have affidavits to that effect. And so no, this is not. And an actual test done by the late Jim Irwin, the astronaut on Apollo 15, showed that particular piece of wood not to exceed 700 years in age.
All right, we need to take a break here, but we'll come back with many more of your phone calls right after this. You stay with us.
This is CNN.
Deborah, thank you. And we are back with Ronald Wyatt. He is an Ark explorer. And Texas, you're on the air.
Hello. Mr. Wyatt, could you tell me something about the inscriptions?
Yes, there's quite a number and variety of inscriptions. Most of them are of the nature of petroglyphs. As you know, these are chiseled in stone. And we have inscriptions of 8 people leaving a boat that's, shall we say, on top of a wave and covered by a rainbow, or shall we say there's a rainbow over these. This is in several locations out there. We also have petroglyphs of some of the animals that were on the boat, specifically of a giraffe. I'm unaware that anybody has seen a giraffe in eastern Turkey in historical times. So these are some of the inscriptions I have, not with me, well, in the studio, but not up here. There's an inscription of 8 people in a boat, and as you may or may not be aware, the importance of the individual to the group is indicated by their size. And so we have a father person, a mother person, and 3 sons and 3 daughters or daughter-in-laws in this boat. And there's 2 ravens in this picture, one over a mountain some distance from the boat and one over the actual boat. And as you can appreciate, we can't give the exact locations of these because we have had people steal some of these inscriptions.
And weren't the ravens sent out after the 40 days and 40 nights to check and see if it was still raining?
That's approximately right, Donna. It was after 150 days.
Okay.
Not of storm, but after they'd been in the boat that long.
Okay, Georgia, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. I was just wondering how the size of the structure compared with the dimensions in the Bible.
Okay, Moses was educated in Egypt. We're told that in the New Testament and also in the Old Testament. And the Royal Egyptian cubit, which he was familiar with and we believe used in giving the dimensions of the ark, is 20.6 inches, and 300 of those is exactly 515 feet, and that is the length dimension of the boat. The boat has splayed some, and this is to be expected in an aging boat. So the width is a little greater than that specified in the Bible, but you figure the degree of splaying and you come up with very close measurements, very similar to those in the Bible.
New York, hello.
Yes, I've been studying archaeology and ancient history for a long time, and Old Persian, and I'm Jewish, and I was educated in the Old Testament, and I think it's important for people to realize that archaeologists and geologists have been in the Middle East for well over 100 years using modern methods. Many of them are dedicated Christians and Jews and Muslims, all of whom believe in the Old Testament. And the reason why none of them think that Noah's Ark could be on Mount Ararat is because, from what we know of modern science, it would take Mount Ararat being, 13,000, 14,000 feet, it would take such a huge flood to place an ark there that the flood would leave signs virtually all over the Middle East, and there are no signs whatsoever of such a huge flood. There are small local floods in, Sumer and Eridu and Kish and places like that, but virtually no signs, no geological signs of a flood.
Mr. Wyatt?
Okay, I appreciate your observation there, sir. Now, we will have to agree with you on the fact that this boat could not be on Ararat for many reasons. It's a post-flood volcano. There's glaciers with the associated glacier flow, and the Bible specifies that the ark landed in mountains, plural, of Urartu, and that was quite a large empire out there. And so it is not on Mount Ararat. It's 12 miles to the south on a place called Mount Masr, or Mountain of Pain, or something to that extent. Now, as to your worldwide evidences of a flood, I will disagree with you there, sir. There is evidence of worldwide flood because of marine fossils at the Cretaceous level. Everything, and that's a roughly average of 7,000 feet around the globe, and everything above that is obviously upthrusted material. And so when you say that these people all agree, I have to agree that the predominance of people in this type of research say this, but sadly they are quoting the textbooks that they studied in school, and they have not done field archaeology on this, or they would not say that.
Ark explorer Ronald Wyatta, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Donna.